Yeah, man. So we're right back at you, man. It's the Cool Table holding it down with my homeboy Big T. It's out right now, but we're gonna go ahead and keep on rolling, right? So what we have today, we're gonna be talking about Brittany Renner, man. And with Brittany Renner, she has stepped into a podcast called Mr. Let Go, right? And it's a cool little podcast, man. I rock with it so far. I haven't really been engaged into it much, but this kind of drew my attention to it, right? But Brittany Renner, she's kind of a famous baby mother, I guess, right? She's famous for her support of the modern woman, in a sense. We can call it women empowerment, sexual empowerment, all these type of things. She kind of reminds me of a Superhead 2.0, in a sense, right? And if you know about Superhead, then you know what I'm talking about. The only difference is that with Superhead, she, and I mean, it's really like, yeah, I mean, damn, like, I guess she even followed the blueprint. I mean, she wrote a book, just like Superhead, talking about all the people that she was with and all this kind of stuff like that. She's all about the sexuality and the woo, right? But then she wants to be respected and loved and all this kind of stuff. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna talk a little bit about these things, right? And go a little bit more in depth into these things, right? So on here, they were talking about whorism, if that's even a word, but you know, about loose morals and things like that, and how these things affect women and how these things look upon women. And they talked about a lot of different subjects. So we're gonna dive into it, and I'm gonna give you my 2 cents analysis, and then we're gonna go ahead and get back to it and wrap it all up and yada yada yada. All right. So y'all don't go nowhere.
Actually, I want to ask him because he seems to have a lot to say. Okay. So what's this?
We all know what wholeness is.
No, I want to hear
what you think
it is.
15 seconds.
I ask.
Giving out your poom poom to every goddamn body, and then you turn around and say, okay, I don't want to do this no more. That's not how it works.
So how does it work?
You don't give it to no goddamn body, or keep giving it to people for the rest of your life. And
but does it have an expiration? Are we ever gonna answer the question?
No, it doesn't have an expiration date.
Okay.
Do you stuck out in the streets?
I'm gonna say he's right there, man. Like, you kind of are stuck in the streets. Like, what we fail to realize is that the things that we do in life do dictate a lot of our future. You know, and it's an unfortunate thing, but it's real. I bring in the example a lot of times of if I was a murderer, right? And if I did some things that are very, you know, questionable morally, right, in my past, and you know I've done these things, you know, and I tell you, hey man, hell yeah, that's me. I did that. I own that. So what? But that don't define me. How could you say that? Because it actually does define me. It says that I am a murderer. It gives you very much so the blueprint and the knowledge of knowing that I am capable of doing this thing again, because I have a history of doing this thing before. And just because I don't do it right now does not mean that in the near future, or that I don't struggle with that murder. I could be thinking about murdering you right now because it's inside of me. It's what I am known for, it's what I've done, it's what I do good. And I enjoy it, and I'm proud of it. And it shouldn't define me, but that's not true. It will make you leery of me because of the behavior pattern that I am exhibiting. It'll make you leery of me because of the moral choices that I've made. It'll make you leery of me because of what I am capable of doing again. Then it should make you leery because it should make you question, should I align myself with somebody who thinks and moves in this fashion, right? But that's just my opinion. And I think it's a valid one.
I have a boom boom.
This is a really, really outdated narrative. You know, right?
No, it's not outdated.
Because you know what's funny?
Brittany,
is like,
nothing changes.
The keys that can open many locks is a broken lock, right?
Yes.
But a key that can open many locks is a what? Is a master key, right?
Right.
Are you serious?
Master key.
And you think you're better?
Better than?
Oh, don't ask him that, please.
So if I've got 300 guys and you 300 women, you're better than me.
It's not about being better.
Answer my question. You just said that. You just said there's a
marriageable.
difference.
I'm not gonna say better because in
Why
this
are you
context,
marriageable? Is that
because
even
I'm a man.
Why is that?
Why am I a man? Because
a woman will still marry him.
Once again, I think he's right, man. It's a real hard truth and pill to swallow, especially for somebody that's trying to be, you know, what they call woman empowered or like sexually empowered. Like, hey, my sexuality and all that shit. But you got to think. The wear and tear that you're putting on yourself and the mileage that you're putting on yourself, and the fact that as a man, you know, I use this analogy a lot. It's called Bambi. It's the Bambi scenario, right? And men are hunters. We're hunters. Women, or what I would look at as prey or deer, right? They have something that we constantly yearn for and want, like a hunter to venison, like a hunter to deer meat, right? If you're hungry, you're in the wilderness, you have your spear, you have your arrow, you're looking for this deer, right? Now the deer never goes out of his way to walk up to you and say, hey, how you doing? I see that you're hungry. I see that you're looking for food. Why don't you just shoot me right here, man, and we could both be good, right? The deer knows that it's important to you and innately tries to preserve his own life, its own precious essence, right? So it makes it difficult for you to obtain it. It moves, it dodges, because all day long it knows that you want it, and it doesn't necessarily need you, but it knows it's a prize for you. And it knows that you can be potential danger for it, so it goes out of its way to make it more difficult for you to obtain it, right? And so therefore, when you go through the hurdles and you've been lurking and murking all day and you finally obtain this precious venison, you cherish it. You put the trophy up over your pedestal. You use every part of the deer. You get the skin and make a coat because you use every part of it because you cherish this deer that you worked so hard to obtain. It's a little bit different than if the deer walked up to you and said, hey, how you doing? Why don't you just take a piece of me? And you ain't even got to fight for it, right? It makes it almost less appreciative, like if instead of a home-cooked meal, you was going to McDonald's. You don't appreciate McDonald's, but you damn sure appreciate that person that slaved over that stove all day. So that's just the point I'm making, that yes, women can do whatever they want to do, but you have to understand the consequences that come along with those decisions, and those decisions aren't necessarily something that's going to be empowering to you in the long run, or period. Really, let's just be honest. When has that been empowering? It just feels good. But the harder things to do in life are the things that tend to be more fulfilling, not the things that are easy to do in life that are shallow and momentary. And this goes for men and women, but it's for some reason embedded in the mind of the modern woman that this thought process and ideology can be something that can be victorious because you have enough women behind you clapping and applauding it, but you will end up just being a pack of lonely women clapping and applauding for nothing. We'll be right back. We're going to continue on with a little bit more of this video.
Stop giving yourself that much credit. Y'all act like it.
But y'all are the one taking the trunks, though. So the more trunks, the more open it is. Unless we want to be with you.
Let me tell you something. You can pull your dick out right now. If you think that your dick is going to just stretch my pussy out, it's the delusion for me.
But the problem is the 3 million times.
Ooh, let's talk about it. Trips me out is that right here you kind of see her trigger warning. Or she should have got a trigger warning, but you can tell that this enrages her, and that's what I don't understand. Why are you so enraged because you can't change the narrative to be what you want it to be? You wanted to fit your reality, but that's not reality. And so then what tends to happen is the frustration comes, the triggering comes, because now you have to take the wool off of your eyes and you're hearing things that you don't want to hear because it doesn't go along with the song and dance that you tell yourself every day to make yourself feel better about the decisions that you're making as you go along with the song and dance, right? So now you have to face reality. You can't lie about it, so you get mad. Now you're going to get frustrated. And that's what we're about to witness right here. A little bit more frustration about how things actually work in reality and not necessarily about how we want things to work.
3 minutes, nigga.
3 minutes. I got 4, so whatever.
She embraces her sexuality.
Embraces her sexuality. Okay.
Is she a hoe?
That's what we doing. If she a hoe.
Okay, if she
But why is it okay though? But why is it not okay for women?
Because you have things entering your body thousands of fucking times. That's not necessarily what
Lego.
Potential husband would want.
Y'all are sitting here saying that the number of penises that enter me make me impure. But if I take away penis, what does that make me?
Good point.
It makes me pure. So guess what? What's the problem? Penis then. Okay, so all I have to do is not open my legs to any of these men and I'm pure.
Yes.
You don't even realize how closed-minded you sound.
I got one thing to say.
You are really a really profound individual. Let's hear it.
You only deserve what you preserve. You only deserve what you preserve. You only deserve what you preserve.
What's crazy is that she goes straight to kind of a shaming technique, right? You niggas think that that your dick is right? And my man makes a great point. It's, you know, she tells about 3,000 dicks. He's 3 million dicks. He's like, well, it's about the 3 million dicks, and that's what it's really about. You know what I'm saying? And she says she just can't seem to fathom that. But then she uses this sexuality as her deflection as well to kind of cloak her thing. So she goes to what she knows. It shows what her power is, what she believes her power is. That's why she feels like that. And it's sad because when you think about the levels of women, right? A woman that can sit with you and her sensuality is such that she touches your mind and your spirit and your soul, and she ain't even left her clothes off, right? That's different, right? It's not the same as a woman that needs to use her sexuality as a power, because usually those are the ones that only have that as a power. That's all you have. And it's funny because when things got a little rough for her, that's what she went to. She went right to her secret weapon. She went right to the thing that gives her security. She went right to the things that give her validation, not necessarily the things that are applauded, or the things that should be applauded, or the character that should be acknowledged. None of that. She went to this very thing that we are condemning, and she doubled down on it, used it as a shield to block from the truth, in a sense, to deflect from what she is now hearing and seeing and feeling, right? So that way she doesn't have to feel that, and to kind of throw you off, right? And that's what you're witnessing right there. And that's a sad thing. You wouldn't have to do that if you just would align with what you know is true, but you don't want to align with what is true because it's more difficult to do the right thing than it is to do the bullshit or do the fun thing. The fun thing is easy, but that fun thing comes with a lot of responsibilities, a lot of consequences. We don't want to deal with those consequences, but we do want to do the fun thing. It don't work like that. Partner, it don't work like that. You got to take it all or you don't take nothing. And that's just how that goes. And that's unfortunate. And that's the world that we live in right now, and that's the reality that we live in right now. And it seems that that's what causes a lot of the disconnect between men and women as well, is that we just don't seem to understand these simple and fundamental things that have been in place for, I mean, you know, and just because they're old, just because something is old does not mean it's wrong. Just because something is old does not, the English language is old, does that mean it's wrong? But that's why people keep trying to change it, because we want to make things feel good. We want things to feel right. We want things to make us feel good, like we Holly Berry and Monsters Ball. But in reality, it's not about feeling good. It's about what the fuck is right. Simple and plain. It's black and white with a small gray area, not a whole gray area. You understand what I'm saying? We can't change and formulate and form a new reality because you cannot fit into the one that is already existing. And that goes for a lot of different categories, man. We're gonna touch base on all that, but it applies to the modern woman as well, right? This delusion that you can do and just count the bodies up and just live life, and that it doesn't matter, and that people will respect. Even women know this truth. Even women look down upon other women who act in this fashion because they know what they are doing is something that is destructive. They only seem to use that excuse when it's them doing the destruction. Something to think about. But I digress, man. It's just my little 2 cents on this situation, man. It was a good video. I really suggest you guys go check out this podcast as well. I think they probably got a lot more different content. I don't know, but I'm going to go check out as well. The podcast is Mr. Let Go. This is once again the Cool Table Man holding it down. Shout out to my homeboy BT. I want you to go check him out as well as Spiritual Guidance Channel. This is King Von holding it down for the Cool Table. Deuces. Say less.